Are you fed up with money? All those dirty bills and pesky coins falling everywhere all the time? Cash is dumb. Credit cards, too confusing. And writing a check? Who's got a pen? Here at the Splunk T-shirt company, we've invented a better way to buy stuff. Introducing ShirtCoin, the very latest in decentralized peer-to-peer currency. Buying a hot dog? Pay with a shirt. Mortgage due? Pay with a pile of shirts. It's flexible, it's fungible, it's the future. Join almost hundreds of early adopters and buy ShirtCoin today. Sign up now and get a handy ShirtCoin back wallet while supplies last.
ShirtCoin has not been approved by the SEC, the banking industry, or the U.S. federal government and may be illegal in some countries. Use at your own risk.
Hey everybody, welcome to the final day of AWS reInvent, and those of you joining online, a special welcome to you as well. We are here live from AWS reInvent, and we're doing a little bit of booth presentations, trying something new, live streaming, getting it out to those of you who couldn't join here in person, but are maybe virtual and having a bit of fun. We're going to talk a little bit around data drivers and our race to observability. So if you're into racing data or machine data or observability, stay tuned. We got a fun little presentation to jump in. My name's Kyle Prins. This is what I look like without a mask. I'm also an IT strategist at Splunk as a full-time day job, and at night, goof off with a couple of buddies at a website and blogging company called BigDataBeard.com. I was fortunate enough to be in the Splunk Trust last year, which is kind of the people who are super community focused and wanting to be extremely helpful to the Splunk community. The huge perk of that is we get a pretty sweet hat, a little fez on it, has a little tassel. It's pretty awesome, but unfortunately, I didn't bring it with me this week. However, we can get them. As you may be aware, we have a unique partnership with a little car company called McLaren. When you initially think of McLaren, you probably think, hey, F1, super nice sports cars. But in reality, they actually create about 80% of the electronic components for all F1 racing teams. They are super focused on the technology side of racing, not only through the cars themselves, but building the components to help others and to get data out of that. So they have quite a unique business as well, focused on manufacturing as well as racing, as well as building components and those beautiful cars as well. Now they saw something pretty unique in the marketplace as well. They realized that esports was trending to be $1 billion company this year and $1.5 billion industry next year. So they've made an investment in the McLaren Shadow Esports team. So they have racers all across the world focused on sim racing and seeing how we could create the next generation of the best drivers using technology while not necessarily having to get on tracks, but more so being able to use computers and sim platforms to train these up. Fortunately, at Splunk, we've been able to sponsor the sim e-racing team as well. And you can see this is actually one of their race cars in their Coca-Cola Esports series. And it's a lot of fun to watch. If you haven't checked that out at all, you can see them on Twitch. It's pretty interesting to see how you can do there. We got really excited about that and decided to create a little program with it. We called it Data Drivers. And what we did was we got a bunch of Splunkers and partners and customers together. We all got racing, the racing platform, which is nothing more than a gaming PC, maybe a VR headset and a steering wheel and pedals. And we started racing. And what we realized too is, hey, you can actually get some unique data points out of this. So we decided that we would see what we could do to make a little bit hacky, a little bit spunky, a little bit fun, all while racing, and maybe walk through our Splunk products and what that data generation and IT maturity journey looks like, but having a pretty unique data set. And last and most importantly, we just really wanted to have fun gaming and kind of calling it work, if you know what I mean. Anytime you can have fun at work like that, we highly recommend you do that. Now, just to level set a little bit kind of on the IT maturity journey that you have here. We prescriptively put data drivers around this in our hackathon, and let's walk through that a little bit around what that means. Stage one is just kind of focusing on the data that you have at play, being able to pull in all those data points together, kind of give a lay of the land of what you have, and be able to see what is talking, what isn't talking. From there, you're going to move on to stage two, which is going to be a bit more of an alert fatigue stage by design. Since everything is getting super chatty, things are going to be talking a lot, things are going to be alerting a lot. It can be overwhelming. I'm sure if you're an IT practitioner, you've seen your email inbox flood overnight with alerts that you go, I've seen this before, I know what it is, I just need to silence it. And that can be exhausting, which then means that the alerts that really matter don't matter as much because they get lost in the sea of alerts. So we want to be able to reduce that, make the alerts that really matter show through, but make the ones that probably don't matter so much go away. Now, once we're able to do that, we can move on to stage three. And stage three is really the 360 degrees visibility. That's being able to apply a business process all the way down to a hard drive, map those inner service dependencies together, provided by key performance indicators, and being able to show your overall business process as it relates down to something as small, as a DIM of RAM, or maybe an EC2 instance in AWS. And then the fourth stage is just moving from being able to see how those business processes map together to the hard drive, but being able to then proactively, preventatively reduce those incidents. How great is an MTTR when the incident doesn't even exist? So we want to get to that level of that, and that's the final stage kind of an IT transformation journey. And I'm sure if you're thinking internally, you can probably identify yourself and your company somewhere along this stage or pretty close within that. So what we did then for the hackathon series is we applied a hackathon kind of focused on each of these major areas. The first one was focused on, the sim racing rig itself, which again is nothing more than a desktop PC that you can go buy. But you have to be able to have that sim racing rig up and running to be able to sim race on it, right? Makes sense. The second one, we focused on getting data in. So we have a sim racing platform, iRacing, and that's great, but we have to focus on what data points are we excited about? How often do we get those data points in? And what do we do with those data points once we get them in? We also focused on KPIs. Some data points are more important than others. Let's go ahead and call those out and see what ones we want to see, how often we want to see them, and what level of interest on that do we want to put around that. The fourth hackathon was services. That was mapping all of those KPIs together in a service, grouping those together and seeing how those weigh on top of each other. And while data is great and fun and cool, a JSON payload is not the prettiest thing to look at. So we decided to put some fun visualizations on that as well. Being able to understand how do we lay out visualizations, how do we lay out a car, who is our end user, what do we make that look like for it to be relative to an end user. And then the last one is action. So we have all this data into place. We've built these visualizations. What do we do to act now on these data sets to be able to then race better, race faster, race stronger, and hopefully get that pole position? Fortunately, we had some really cool end users to help with us. We had Blake Reynolds, who is a Coca-Cola eNASCAR professional esports driver for McLaren Shadow. And we had Tobin Lee, who is the team manager of all these esports racers. So you could kind of think of this as your end user and your executive. And they were both extremely opinionated on what they wanted to see specifically to these visualizations. And while they were the same sets of data, the same data points, and the same tool, their visualizations looked pretty different. So it was the same data, but different lenses. Blake wants to see very much more granular, what's going on a specific tire, what's going on within the engine and the oil pressure. And Tobin was much more focused on how is this race going as a whole? How is my team performing? How are we doing competitively against others to be able to gain that overall edge of the team? While Blake has a much more granular focus, again, on his races. What we realized, though, is that iRacing is a data gold mine, which was super fun for us. We were able to pull in over 400 data points up to 60 times a second. It's a lot of data, and that is per racer across the world. So it was extremely exciting to see. We were getting things like car temperature, track temperature, environmentals, air pressure as it changes throughout your race during the day. We could even get down to a tire, breaking it apart into 3 quadrants and being able to get the inner tire temperature and pressure versus the outer tire temperature and pressure, which is just extremely interesting. When you think of this at the beginning of this project, we're going, okay, it's a game. No, it's truly a sim racing platform. Now, we were able to use the the Python iRacing SDK, which is on GitHub. It's fully open source. We were able to write an application for that in Python. We were able to use some of the open telemetry libraries for Python there to gather in some of those metrics, as well as Splunk's own Python library to be able to pull in that data, put it into a payload, and then send it up to AWS, to a load balancer we have there, to then get our data in a consistent and timely fashion. You know, racing data is cool, but racing data in real time is far more beneficial for us than it being 5 or 10 seconds late. So we had to solve a real problem there. We have data streaming across the world. We need it to come in consistently and in a timely fashion. And we want to make sure that we're able to store it wonderfully. So we were able to put it into Splunk Observability Cloud. We focused specifically on infrastructure monitoring. We looked a little bit at Log Observer as well, but we have many other parts of that observability cloud, such as synthetics, APM, RUM, and on-call that could really help your business as well. So we hope to dive into those maybe a little bit more next season. We'll see what happens. Now, this was Blake's driver observability platform dashboard. And what you can see here is we have actually included all of the tire temperatures, the brake and throttle ratios, the speed, the RPMs, lap time, lap position, his deltas, so how is he going on his fastest lap versus his current lap? Because if those times are getting closer together, he's doing well. If they're going further apart, obviously there might be an indicator of the car that we could look at to try and shave off those couple milliseconds or seconds to get him back to optimal performance. And one thing that we're able to do with all this is all done without code if you want. So it's a click interface, super easy to do. We were able to get it spun up in an evening and have him walk through and show him how he can easily edit these as well to make it super easy to then be empowered to do these things yourself. We also can set up custom alerts and thresholding and colors then. So, 78 degrees Celsius might be good for one day and bad for another. So we can change that from green to yellow to red or any color that we decide and deem fit. So you can really specify this dashboard specific to you as an end user and make it extremely relevant to what you care about. Now, we also did this one for Tobin Lee, who, again, is that manager view, that CEO level view, giving him an idea of how each of his racers are doing, how his team is performing overall, and what maybe he could do across that board. And what's really interesting about this is these are the same data points, it's the same data set, it's the same application, but we're able to provide these just as easily with a different view. It can be the same tool, but you can provide many lenses through that across the same data set. And when you're able to get those multiple use cases out of that single source of data, that data just becomes exponentially more valuable. And we at Splunk try and do that specifically for you. Now, what was really cool is that McLaren has a headquarters out in England, and they have the McLaren Technology Center, which is this beautiful building sat upon a lake, and they have all the champion F1 series cars laid out in the lobby. But what they've done is they've also built out an esports training area in it, and they've got these sim racing rigs set up. And this is actually one of our executives showing up in their executive briefing center and taking it for a little test drive using our data just to see how good or potentially how bad he is as a driver. We'll have to take a look at the data and get back with them. Now, if you've found this fun, if you're wondering where you can get it, don't worry. We've let it live forever and ever on YouTube. You can scan this QR code. So if you're watching online, feel free to pause, grab that QR code, and you can take it there. If you're here in person, grab it now, or we can go ahead and take a look at that after. Or you can get online, search Splunk Data Drivers, and find it there as well. But we have each of our monthly race recordings that we have that are real users across the world racing. If this is of interest for you, you're welcome to sign up. We'd love to have friends join us. We also did the monthly hackathons where we walked through about an hour and a half showing, how do we solve each of these business problems using racing data, and how do we frame out and how do we think outside the box here. Now, on top of that, we had a lot of fun with that. So we did another series called Talk Fast, Turn Left, where on the lead up to Splunks.conf in October, we had our executive team jump in the cockpit seat and go ahead and take a car out for 200 miles an hour of driving while we just rapid fire questions at them. So if you want to see a little bit of a fun series there, that's on YouTube as well. We also had Lights Out, which was our championship racing series, where, again, you, the community, were able to jump into racing simulators at your home and be able to race with us online. So we really enjoy this racing community. We want to make sure that we keep playing with it and having fun, and hope you learn as well through that. Now, while watching all of these things on YouTube and watching somebody else provide a demo is helpful. It's neat. It's interesting. Really being able to play with the platforms and the data helps you understand our products and any products at a much deeper level, and that we realize that. So we've created the boss of ops and observability. And you can kind of think of this as a creative little capture the flag game that we've got, where you and your friends can team up together and compete against others for championship prizes and just have a good time. And what we do is we open up our products to you. We let you jump through the scenarios that we've custom built for you. Go ahead and learn about all of our enterprise products while still being able to do it from the comfort of your home with your friends and have a good time. We do have one coming up on December 8th, so you can sign up for that. There's the QR code there after you shake off the rust of Vegas, or next week. I think it's Wednesday, December 8th. You can sign up there, or boo.splunk.com. You can check that out. Now, if you can't sign up December 8th, we have what's called on-demand events for Boo, where we've built these events or these instances in AWS, where we've created the data generation process, and you can spin these up yourself and walk through at your convenience. So, hey, if you want to check it out after this talk, boo.splunk.com, and you can give it a shot. We've got 3 different racing events specific. So if you're focused on racing specifically, we've got that. We've got views on observability on AWS and many of our other cloud partners as well. So if there's anything in particular interest of you, we probably have it there, and you can get your hands on with our products and data. So key takeaways. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to me. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope you can see that Splunk truly is the data to everything platform. We try and keep things thinking a little bit outside the box of going, wow, you could Splunk that. Yes, you can. And having a little bit of fun of understanding then, if you think outside the box, it can make your day job that much more fun and relevant. You can solve then unique business problems with a little bit of weird data. And also, finally, we believe that Boo is the easiest way to get hands-on with our products, get a deeper understanding of our products, and being able to have some fun scenarios and some games as well. Now, finally, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time out of your day. We'll be popping back in and out, live streaming for the rest of the day. So if you want to hear some more about Boo, or some more about data drivers, or some more around our other unique offerings that we have in the marketplace, hang tight. You can hit the alert button as well on Twitch and get notified automatically when we hit there too. So thank you again. We'll be back shortly, and take care.
Hello, and welcome to Boss of Ops and Observability, or, if you're pressed for time and into the whole brevity thing, Boo. You might be wondering, why is Shelly here? Well, because I'm a big deal, and so is this. The Splunk t-shirt company needs your help. We have a problem, some sort of technology situation. I'm old school, Tori's busy, and Frank, well, Frank doesn't really do anything. So we're relying on you.
Thanks, Shelly. Once you've shaken the Vegas off and you're back home, join Splunk for Boss of Ops and Observability, or as we lovingly refer to it as Boo, on Wednesday, December 8th at 10 a.m. U.S. Pacific Time. Boo is a gamified capture-the-flag-esque competition where participants leverage Splunk's observability and IT capabilities to answer a variety of questions related to real-world IT and DevOps incidents. So get your team together, get ready to claim your title as Splunk's Boss of Ops and Observability on December 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern. Register now at boo.com or register via the link below.
Good luck, and thank you.